of ingredients should people be looking for?
Oh my goodness. I whenever I formulate a product, it really takes a long time. I take years to actually come to give a product a birth. But I can only tell you what ingredients I like for detoxing. Obviously, the old milk thistle is an important one, which is similar in which is a very important research and science confirmed liver supporting ingredient. I
Yeah,
really love barley
absolutely.
grass. Barley grass is again superfood, detox, alkalizer. It does have a cleansing effect. I'm sure that you would be able to give us more info on Chinese medicine as well.
It's cooling and draining.
Absolutely. Dandelion root is another one. Artichoke is another one that has shown to have some sort of liver regeneration properties and abilities. I like to put cilantro in just to kind of help the heavy metal detoxification. I like broccoli sprouts for many reasons. They obviously have discovered that broccoli sprouts have higher content of vitamins and antioxidants and superfoods and sulfur-containing compounds that are also anti-cancer,
Hmm.
that have anti-cancer effect. Turmeric root as well is important, and you know you have to be very, very careful with the dosages and make sure that you don't underdose, but also don't overdose certain
Right.
ingredients. The sad part of the whole current situation is that dogs with elevated liver enzymes and liver disease do not live, 80% of them do not live past 5 years. So I really believe that preventing liver disease and really looking after a dog's liver as if it was the most precious organ is super important. Obviously, you can't really say what is important. Is it the heart or the liver or the kidneys? But liver is a metabolic superfactory, and there is no doubt that it's important in our dog's health and immunity and vitamin production and energy metabolism and detox.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And when I was in practice, I'm a super nut about lab work. Like if any patient was on any kind of chronic medication, they had to have lab work every 3 months. And
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of practices, it's once a year. I had some people come to me with their dogs and cats that had never had lab work, that were on chronic medications. It's like, well, how are we monitoring how this is affecting their body? So I was just kind of a crazed maniac about lab work, because I felt like it was being very proactive and really getting a glimpse to what was going on inside their body. And elevated liver enzymes showed up so often. So
Mm-hmm.
like, and I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot
Mm-hmm.
of it is just toxic diets, toxins in the environment, toxic medications that they're getting, toxic chemicals that we're using on them. But elevated liver enzymes are probably the most common abnormality that we see on lab work.
Very
Um,
true. Very true.
and I think that a lot of it has to do with aflatoxins in the processed pet feed. I think that's a huge part of it. So I think that if we're not proactive about knowing what's going on inside, and if we're not proactive about bringing those levels down by using things like you were mentioning, which I love all of those, if we're not being proactive, then we're just going to see this build up and build up and build up, and then we end up with things like liver cancers and immune dysfunction and all kinds of things going wrong. And it's really amazing, and this is one of those where I feel like herbal medicine or alternative food therapy, whatever we want to term it, I really feel like this is where we have like a superpower to detox the liver. When we
Mm-hmm.
use those sort of products on these animals, one, we have to fix their diet if they're not on a good diet. But when we use products like yours and other products that have those types of ingredients in them, it's amazing how quickly those levels will come down. We see the animals feeling better, their
Mm-hmm.
coats get better, their eyes are clearer and brighter. A lot of those ear infections disappear, because from a Chinese medicine standpoint, we have to look at the liver and gallbladder meridians. Where do they go? Oh yeah, back and forth around the eyes, the ears. And so anytime we have these bright red eyeballs and eye discharge and goopy
Mm-hmm.
ears, we have to look at getting the liver and gallbladder straightened out. So I love your protocol. I think that's a great way to do it.
It's with regards to the ingredients, and food, like you were talking about food and processed food. If it sits on a shelf for 6 months, 12 months, or longer, it's not really good. So feeding ideally either homemade, raw, or cooked food, or food that has the reputation, whether it's processed or not. Minimally processed is always better. And I know that some people just don't have the capacity to do that. So going to the reputable brands that, for example, you carry on your store, and really know that they're good and that there are good, passionate people behind them.
Yes.
I think ingredient sourcing is also important, whether it comes to food or supplements. And I really do like and appreciate the research in the area of fermented foods and fermentation, whether it's, again, foods or supplements. I definitely love the fermentation of foods and supplements, because it is known to increase bioavailability and absorption by about 10%. Sorry, 10 times, 10-fold. So it's super important for us to continue learning and improve the efficacy or the effect of healing foods. And as you said, there's so much potential. It's amazing. It's exciting.
It is. It is, especially when you start putting in practice and you start seeing your own pets, or in our case, patients, transforming. It's pretty amazing. So I thank you very much for your time today, Peter. And I think that everyone needs to figure out some way to, if your pet's diet needs to be improved, figure out how to do that, but also incorporate some sort of detoxification, help the liver stay healthy, particularly if your pet already has elevated liver enzymes on their lab work. Really critical that we keep this organ healthy for health span and lifespan.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Take care. Bye-bye.